Yep.
Looks like the meeting's being live streamed.
Excellent.
Yes, sir.
I'm watching a very slow countdown clock right now on YouTube. Oh, that might be it. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and call the meeting to order at 7:04. Paul, do you want to go through and do roll?
Yes. Sharon Briscoe,
Present.
Allison Thompson,
Present.
Katrina Fuller,
Present.
Molly Campbell.
I think I just saw her.
I just saw, but maybe she just lost connection. Anyway, Monica Waldman,
Present.
Ashley Hanshaw,
Present.
let's go, Molly. Can you hear me, Molly Campbell? Well, try again at the end. Elizabeth Broderick,
Present.
Ann Whiter,
Present.
and Katie Zabrowski. Hey, Molly. Okay, thumbs up. Got it. We're all here.
Not sure what happened. Thank you.
No problem. So quorum established.
All right. Excellent. All right. So let's go to the agenda. Let me just share my screen for you. And there we go. There's our agenda for the night. So we'll move for the approval of the agenda. Question though, were you able to get a hold of Ms. Schumacher? Is she going to be joining us, Sharon?
She mentioned it this morning.
Okay, good.
But I don't know. I can text her.
Okay. I never sent her anything, unfortunately.
I'm supposed to text her. I'm supposed to text her when it's her turn.
Oh, perfect.
Ah,
She's got a
okay.
whole plan. I love it.
She's on top of it.
She knows how these meetings go. Okay, great. Okay, so
So,
let's go for the approval of the agenda.
Katrina,
Oh, yeah.
Katrina, can you hear me? Just
I
one,
can,
just one
Allison. Hi.
thing. I should have emailed and I frankly just didn't get around to it, but we also should do a Midtown Cat update. And so
Oh,
we
yeah.
can do that like either before or after public comment, just at some point. I don't want to lose that.
No, that's good. Let's go ahead and throw that in before future agenda items. Is that okay? We'll do the Midtown Cat update.
Do you
Okay,
need
well-
to vote on that?
We will. We'll vote on it as amended. Question though, when was that meeting? Was that this past week? Do you
It
know what?
was last
Last week.
week.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Okay.
Was it 2 weeks ago?
Well, I'm looking at my calendar right now. So hold
Feels it, right?
Yeah, it feels it.
on. It might have been. We've gone too far.
That's okay. While you're looking for that, we can do a motion for the revised agenda as we've just mentioned it. Is there someone move for it?
Motion to edit revise the agenda.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
That was Elizabeth. Okay, great. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, we've set our agenda for the evening. Let's go to the previous minutes. Paul, do you have those up or do you want me to? Here, wait, I think you've already uploaded them.
I can pull them up, or I guess you can just go there. Yep.
Yeah, draft minutes. Here we go. Okay. These are the draft minutes that were sent to you guys too. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from February?
A motion to approve.
I was waiting for you, Katie. I thought I would jump
Well,
in.
I was like, maybe I'll get there.
Katie,
Maybe
that's your
I'll give
job.
somebody else. I know. Well, I feel like it is. And then I was like, well, maybe somebody else wants to do it, but motion to approve minutes.
Okay. Is there a second?
We just need
Second.
Monica Waldman.
Well,
I'll second.
Monica.
great.
Hey, there we go.
Wonderful. All those in favor say aye.
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 Bye.
All those opposed? Okay, that motion passes. And we will go back to the agenda. Oh, wrong agenda. Try that again. Oh,
We've got a public comment opportunity right now.
great. Okay. Anyone like to make a comment? I don't have the gallery on.
We don't have any.
Okay, there it is. Okay, wonderful. Public comment. So moving right along, we'll do presentation of final budget or whatever you got.
Okay, I will. So I'm not going through the slides. I sent the presentation, but I know that it's not completely filled in. If you want to, we can use that as the template, Katrina, if you think that that's better to do. And then we can just talk about what's missing from there and what I'll add to it. And then when it gets to the actual budget, I'll just switch the screen and I'll
Okay.
share.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that the one that you have?
It's the one I sent
template?
you today.
Okay.
And I was asking you to add in anything that may from last time, but you were reminded me the only thing that we added in were the actual goals, which is great. And so I can just go from there. So do you want me to, do you have that, what I sent you today? I can pull it up. You're muted. You're on mute, Katrina.
I have it. It's pulling up right now. Give me one
Okay.
moment. Takes me a little bit for my little PowerPoint
Well, you
to
just
get
take your
rolling.
time.
There we go. Not too much because Ted Lasso's on tonight.
Oh, okay. Well, listen, this is the fast one.
We're gonna move it along. Okay, no, here we go.
Apple TV.
Here we go. Here we go. This is it right
I'm
here.
behind I'm behind.
Um,
Okay.
There we go. Slideshow. Can everyone see that one okay?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So it's really, I mean, it's just a guideline. You can go to the next one. Okay, so we just talk about the norms for any people who are from the public, letting them know it's a member of the GO team and, you know, to observe quietly and the things that we do for each other, respect each ideas, etc. And that's where you're gonna upload the agenda into that slide. That's it. Next. Okay, and then it just kind of shows the FY24 process. We are here. That means that we have done all of these additional steps. Everybody see all those additional steps, right? That we have taken. We talked about, we ranked our strategic plan and ranked our priorities. Everybody should have been to the workshop. I shared with you guys what budget processing looks like, and now we're at the time to approve. Okay. Doesn't mean that's the end of the conversation because usually it changes every year. And then, so why are we, what are we doing? Why are we doing it? And this is just the final recommendations, if there are any different new ones, and there are not. And then we have to approve this so that it can go to the district by Friday. Okay. All right. So I'll show now well, actually, I was going to say go to the next slide just to make sure that's when I should be doing it. Okay, so we did the priorities. I'm supposed to be doing the rationale. I just want everybody to see it. So we'll insert in that slide what that is. We'll insert what the priorities are. And Katrina updated that the last time when we all talked about it together to make sure. And then we'll talk about the rationale. That's what I will insert into there. Okay. So we're using our priorities and we ranked those. And now we're just talking about the different categories. I think, can you go to the next slide? Okay, so that's the breakout piece. And that is just literally like the minutia of what we're doing and what the strategy is and what the APS 5 focus is. I'm going to lean on my team members who work at the school to help me finish this. But for now, let me go ahead and show you what the final budget ended up looking like after my staffing conference. Okay. So this is the budget that can everybody see?
Mhm.
Okay. It's the budget I got from the district today. And I just want to review it. I am going to tell you right now that I cannot manipulate this. I'm going to show you, give you an example. So when I go into see, I can't change that. You see what it says? It's a protected sheet. This is what I initially put in there, but that's the only change that needs to be made because I can't do it, but I've emailed the district to discuss that particular change. Okay, so this is what the budget shows. I'm trying to figure out how to put my your faces in a way that doesn't disrupt my screen. Okay. All right. So we are going through, we talked about there's 4 teachers on each grade level. One of these teachers is in the CARES Act. This is the one thing on the budget that's wrong because we talked about being able to hire for the STEM lab teacher versus the program specialist. There's an $11,000 difference. And we discussed that the district will not allow me, and that's based on average salary, will not allow me to hire it as the person as a teacher. They have to be a specialist. But the version of the budget that they sent me does not have that indicated on there. And like I will show you again, I can't change it. So I'll show you at the end where the difference lies. Oops, went quickly. Okay, sorry, I'm back to the beginning because I went so quickly. So it's 4 teachers on each grade level, and this is going to say a 0.5 STEM lab teacher. Hi, Willabella. All right, then we have an art teacher, music, PE, world language. We have 2.5 gifted teachers, and that is where the other 0.5 comes from. It's STEM and gifted, and it's really coming together nicely. The district is giving me the 0.1 ESOL. They're giving me 2.5 interrelated special education teachers and a 1/2 of a special education lead teacher, which is what we have now. None of that has changed. 1/2 of a speech language pathologist. I have 3 kindergarten parapros in here. That's because the 4th one is in the CARES Act budget. No, I'm sorry. These 3 kindergarten special ed paras come from the district. I don't know if I'm going to be able to continue with the 3 because one of the paras is a one-on-one who will be moving with the student that they serve. The kindergarten paras, there's 3 because one of them is in the CARES Act. This paraprofessional right here that says 0.5 para and 0.5 non-instructional. This is currently D. Ryan's position, Coach D. And that's going to be the person that assists us with the cafeteria and also with instruction when needed. PE para, principal, assistant principal, school secretary, school clerk, counselor, 2 instructional coaches, media specialist, school nurse, full-time. I'm so happy to be able to extend that offer. This 0.25 is our band and orchestra. What will go here is the signature program support specialist. And that'll be a 1.0, but as you can see, I cannot make that change. It's $11,000 difference. This is 106 compared to the 95 that you pay for a teacher. Our school social worker, that is paid for by the district. Our SST, this is one thing that we have changed. That person's going to be split with Springdale Park, where half of our students who are in the program are going. Custodians, school psychologists, our site managers, our building mechanic is another word we use. It's Mr. T. And those are all the people. Okay. So staffing, gives my people who are coming. I have in here our hourly people. This is going to, they have to strike through this as well. Dr. Smith will not be coming back. Ms. Taylor will be, I still have money for this person, and I still have money for an hourly teacher. Non-staffing, they allowed me to use some of the reserve. That's what I talked about, which was able to buy the 0.5 GATE teacher and the 0.5 STEM lab teacher. That's what took me over the edge for that. We did some secretary overtime. The only difference is that this number right here is going to change, and it's going to be $16,000. So we'll really be relying heavily on our foundation for materials and supplies. Okay, that's just for teaching supplies. This is not a part of our budget. This is something that the district pays for. Those academic stipends, it's built into the budget. Our substitutes that come out of our budget, and that's everything for this non-staffing line. So the tools and checks is how I've manipulated the substitute pay, how many days per year each teacher would require. And then when I go to the presentation, this is what we share with the public. Our projected enrollment, our per pupil expenditure, and then our function. And we, you see by the pie, the main portion of our budget is spent on instruction. So before I come out of here, does anybody have any questions? Because that's what we're voting on. Nothing different than what we talked about. The only thing that is different is that the district, and I shared this, will not allow me to spend $95,000 on a STEM lab teacher. That is what Stephanie Schumacher is currently doing. Even though she will not see the money, they're doing the average of salary, the average salary. And so that's where that comes from. Any questions before I come out of here? No?
I
Okay.
do. I think I'm just still confused with that position being the average. And I hate for you to have to go over it again, but so you're saying that the average cost right there, actually, I don't even know how to begin to explain it because I just don't understand it.
Okay. So and this is really interesting because it's also different per school. So schools they took the schools that have high poverty, and then they took the schools that don't, and they took the average salary of a teacher. Okay, so why I'm paying $95,000 per teacher, but other schools are paying $90,000 per teacher, because the average salary of the schools that are non-title, that don't have a high poverty rate, the average salary of those teachers is $95,000. That is including all their benefits. Okay, that's the cost to the district. So they then impart that cost on me, right? So the average salary, and again, it's a good thing to do an average cost instead of to do a per person cost, because it will keep people from only hiring young, inexperienced people that don't have a lot of degrees. Because the more years that you work and the more degrees that you have, the more you get paid. It's it's merit based, and so that is the reason why the district does that. Okay, so we understand that this is the average salary. So every principal at schools similar to ours pays $95,000 per teacher. Okay, that is, and I'm looking right here at the STEM lab teacher. Let me see. I think it's in this column. Did I skip it? STEM lab. Okay, right here in row 20. Okay, so all the teachers, that's their average salary. Now, for a program specialist, signature program specialist, the average salary of the people that currently hold that job cost the district $106,000. So my argument was, can't I just call that person a STEM lab teacher because they're still seeing kids? Why does it have to be a program specialist? So that is a standard of service that every school that has a signature program, you can see the IB specialist right here at line 134 is the same average cost. That's what they charge for specialists. So my argument was that money goes into the whole, because the person that I'm paying $11,000 more for that person, but that person still gets paid on a teacher salary. It's just that the other people who are in that position get paid more than her. And it's not something that I have any control over. Does that make sense to you? I mean, not does it make sense to you, but do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's becoming more clear.
So Ms. Briscoe, if you had like a bunch of veteran teachers in every position, hypothetically, your actual spend could be greater than what this budget reflects.
Exactly.
And this district would just cover the difference.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
That's exactly right. And so we do have, at our school, we do have a lot of veteran teachers, and we do have a lot of people with advanced degrees. So while we pay $95,000, if I did the average cost for just Mary Lynn, it might even be higher than that. So I don't pay actual salary, I pay average salary, and everybody else does too.
How do changes in enrollment affect your budget? Like if you lose students or gain students, do you actually have to adjust the budget as a result, or do you just get to submit the budget and it holds regardless of the level?
Yes, you have to change your budget. So the way that it works is that this is the allocation page. I don't know if you remember, we were talking about this. So this is the way for every student that you have, they start off with a base salary, a base allocation of $45.82.
Right.
And then we weight those according to various things. So we get a lot, we weight for kindergarten, it's a heavy weight. For students who are in EIP, it's a heavyweight. For poverty, it's a heavyweight. And for gifted, it's a heavyweight, right? So we you see that we get a lot of money for our gifted students, but we only have 42 students out of 540 who are in EIP. Well, if you have a school that has a lot of students that qualify for EIP, this number is going to be a lot higher.
Yeah.
If you have a lot of students who qualify for poverty, you're going to have, this number is going to be a lot higher. Okay. So that's how that works. And when students leave, so just say that this 115 students was still there, I would literally just start with, and I'm about to do it right now so that I can show you what I'm talking about. I would literally start with 115 students and I'd multiply that by 4,582. So my budget right now is $526,000 less than it would have been for last year.
And then if you were like, let's say you lost students between now and the start of the school year, do you have to have some sort of contingency? For where
Yes,
you would
so
cut from?
yes, and so that is where this
Oh, it comes out of there. That's right.
$45,000 reserve.
Yep, okay. Thanks.
Mhm. They put 90,000 in the reserve, so they'll take your money. And if you don't have any money, then they'll take your teacher. So we try to leave money in there so that they don't have to take your staff.
Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing. And
Okay.
then, okay,
So then what's the next step? Do we vote for the budget tonight or should
yes,
we?
we do. This is it. We vote
Wait.
for the budget tonight. So if
Well,
you go
but then
back
we
to
have
yours,
to,
if you
we
go
have to
back to this,
present that template with all of this stuff in it, right? Let me share my screen.
yes. So what that is literally just telling, it doesn't have anything to do with the budget. It's not going to change any numbers in the budget. It is just an explanation of what we've done to the budget, which is not much. What we've done to the, it's asking you what the APS 5 is, like how does it relate, like, you know, how does it relate to what Atlanta Public Schools is prioritizing? So is it about data? Is it about personalized learning? Is it about signature programming, right? So like, for example, we added a 0.5 STEM teacher in addition to our signature program specialist. That would go under signature programming. So you all, everybody, we all know all of that. I just have to submit this paperwork to the district. But there's nothing that changes. The budget, the numbers are, and nothing changed. It is literally asking what are, they want just specifics about the budget, right? So did we purchase an additional teacher? We purchased, we did not purchase an additional teacher. We converted a homeroom teacher to a 0.5, excuse me, GATE and 0.5 STEM. Excuse me, this is pollen. Okay.
So Katrina, I feel like what I'm hearing you say is you have you feel like we need to not just vote on the budget itself, but also vote on all the underlying slides that go with it.
I mean, you can type into this. That's what I was hoping that we were doing last time. And you can type right into it right now. I can tell you what it's going to say. There's like, for example, based on our priorities, you're going to list our priority on there, right? And then, yeah, we can do that right now.
Well, I think, I feel like this probably should have been brought to us. Just based on our conversation last time with Diane mentioning that some of these details are more for the school that would be getting into the weeds, where I know that I don't think it's appropriate for Go Team to get into the weeds of digging out how you guys are actually implementing those priorities.
That would be for the strategic plan. This is not that. This is not that. This is literally what we're doing. This is exactly what we've all just talked about. It has nothing to do with how we're going to implement the actual strategy. We're taking the plan that we already made and we're literally copying and pasting. So for example, I mean, I can type into it as we're talking if you feel like you need to see it, because it needs to be voted on by the 17th. Okay, so what it will literally say is whatever our first priority that when I was asking earlier today to put into the slide, that's what I was talking about. What the priority is. And then the other part, I can just tell you what it is. So like, for example, we are if our priority is about, and you listed those three, is about hiring the right people to do the right job, and I'm paraphrasing because that's one of our priorities, then the focus would be signature programming, which is one of the APS 5. And then the strategies would be to put a person in place who is going to continue to teach the STEM, or to plan project-based learning. The request is an additional teacher, and then the amount is $95,311. That's literally the only thing that's on there. That's the only thing that's on there that changed. So that's it. That's the only thing that would be put on there. There's nothing else that we're charging money. We have reduced the number of teachers, and we have reduced the MTSS, so it was Tanisha Bellard's position. That doesn't have to go on here. So the only thing literally that is going to go on here that is different than what we're doing now is that increase of the STEM and GATE teacher.
Okay, so I think moving forward, maybe, Paul, are you able to start editing? Do you want to take this offline and just, I'll take it from the screen sharing, or can you put notes and we can type that in? I do think we probably need to have that agreed upon before we vote in anything.
So why don't we
add
just
later
type it in?
on-
Can we just type into it right now while we're talking?
Sure.
I've got that slide deck up, and I can.
Yeah.
I mean, it's up right now on the screen for everybody to see.
I know, I just can't edit that version. I've got the same thing on
Oh,
my
okay.
computer.
There we go.
And then if you go past that slide, Katrina, while he's doing that, you can see where it says the next thing to do.
It'll just take me a moment to put the strategic priorities in there, and then we can edit it. Does that sound okay?
Yep. It's really about justifying your budget changes. We just don't have that many budget changes to justify, because we don't really have a lot of money to work with. We're not like hiring a bunch of new people, or, changing signature programming, or doing anything specific.
All right, so this is the next slide up, the CARES allocation.
Okay, so you want to go through that?
Yeah. And hey, Paul, I'll start doing the notes on that one. If you want to
There's really
continue on
no
the first
notes for
one.
that, because there's nothing. Oh, but go ahead. I'll share what the CARES Act looks like. There's nothing really that changes.
Is that the parapro that you mentioned for kindergarten?
It's one kindergarten teacher and one parapro. That's it.
Okay.
It's all the money.
So that would be
if you-
under, oh, go
You
ahead,
want me to
Paul.
share my screen? If I'm going to be editing the documents, everybody
Oh.
can see what I'm doing.
Yeah, would you do that? Thank you. Let me stop my share.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, can you guys see that?
I see you're sharing now.
Oh, yeah, I thought we were just going over the CARES. Multitask. So for CARES, got $156,000, 587. The summary is one teacher. This is an approximation. The reason why I didn't put the 95,311 in there is because I'm planning on using a teacher that costs less than that, one of our newer teachers, because in CARES Act, you would pay actual dollars and not approximate. And then I have one parapro in there. And then I have some hourly positions. That's it. And the hourly, their maximum that they can work a week in real life is 29.5 hours. But what we did is we took the money for the para, the money for the teacher, and then what was left over, instead of buying things, we're buying people. That's it. There's nothing in non-staffing. There's no money in there. See there? That's it. There's nothing in there. So, oh, and that doesn't really apply because that doesn't count for CARES. I'm not paying for out of any of that out of CARES. So that's it. There's really nothing to put in those in that slideshow for CARES. I think this is for people who have a lot of money and who are trying to do a lot of innovative things at their school. We just don't have any big additional money like that. So that's why it looks like that.
Do any of the schools get additional money?
Yeah, schools get money for various things all the time, right? And so, first of all, we don't get any title funding.
Right.
Okay. And then we don't get any poverty money. And then we don't get any EIP money. And so there are schools that are able to do various things. For example, some schools have may have like 3 or 4 coaches, or like a coach and a reading specialist and a reading ELA coach, and then a math specialist and a math science coach. So we just don't have money for extra people like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're back to Katrina. You're on mute. Okay, so that's CARES.
Okay, the next one.
We don't have Title I. Okay, so there were changes to the budget draft. The budget draft change is the $11,000 difference, but there's no allocation change. There's no allocation change. The only thing that changed as a result of the staffing conference. So I really should probably just put there were not any changes, because there were not. There's no change to the allocation of the budget. The only change was that I have to pay the 106 for the program specialist position. It's $11,000 difference, but it doesn't have anything to do with allocation. So that's going to say we're not. When I submit this final paperwork, that's what it's going to say. And if you feel like we need to have it to say we're not right now, we can do that too, and just take off the words were and put $0.
Okay, we'll move on
Okay.
from that one. Paul, is that one okay? Were you able to get that one? That's the slide 13.
Well, I actually don't have this slide deck exactly. I have the
Yeah,
one
this
from
one.
last meeting, so that
Okay,
some of the slides aren't on the slide deck I have.
okay. All right, so moving along then, we'll go to the summary of changes.
0. Okay, this is going to look like the same slide that I put in there the first time. And then the second slide is also the same slide that I put in there the first time. It is what the budget is. So I just showed it to you. I can show it to you again. It says 77% of our dollars are spent on the staff. instruction. Okay. So this is the reserve and the holdback funds. The reserve is $45,000. You can go to the next slide. The reserve is $45,000. And if we if they don't take it from us because of enrollment, it's going into materials and supplies because we only have $16,000 in it. No Title I. And so we answered these questions the last time. That's what we spent the bulk of our time talking about. And then there are any questions. So the only thing that you need to do before we vote is just change that one slide for that Paul is doing, adding our strategic priority, and I can give you the numbers.
All right, team. Okay, so does anyone have any questions about what we just went through before we vote on it? Is everyone comfortable with us making those changes as we've discussed? We have the recording that we can go back and if we need a double check to make sure we have everything.
Did you want to add, I mean, I just put this strategic priorities in that one slide. Did you want to add the other
If you
parts
go
of
to that slide where the strategic priorities are,
it's strategic plan breakout slide?
okay, so and I know that you were adding those. If you add those, even though we have these particular strategic priorities, there's only one thing that is different from our budget, and that is that addition of that 0.5 teacher. So even though the other things are our priorities, there's nothing that is different about our budget from last year to this year that would require to fill out the rest of that slide.
So are you saying that we could just have our priorities listed and leave the rest of the slide blank?
No, I'm going to tell you what to put in there. Are you in it?
Can I share my screen with this slide in it?
Mm-hmm.
So we got this. There we go.
Hey, Peter, what you doing on here? So yeah, a little bit bigger for the old people. Okay.
Is that good?
So, okay. So the only one that is going to affect our budget is, well, I guess it could be either one or two. Building teacher capacity. Well, no, it would be number two. Providing unique learning experiences. I would say that is where the change would go. And so the APS area would be signature programming, right? Yep, right there. It would just say signature programming. This is something, like I said, I was happy to do that offline, but it's
Right.
great. Everybody can see it. Okay. And then for the strategies, next box, it's going to say provide STEM instruction and GATE instruction to fifth graders. Well, it could say STEM instruction K through 5 and GATE instruction for grade 5. So the STEM instruction is K through 5 and GATE instruction, or not even an instruction, GATE resource model. GATE resource model for grade 5. And then it's going to say purchase an additional teacher. And then it's going to say 95,311.
I took typing. And
Paul, you're doing a great job. This is a lot of pressure. I really appreciate it. This is,
And then
you're
it's
doing a
gonna
great
say
job.
95, 311, which is how much a teacher costs. And that's it. That's the only thing that we're changing. And unless you go to Paul, okay, gonna go to the next slide. Or are you working on the new one or the one that Katrina, or the
Is it-
old one?
Is it old one?
That's an old one? Okay. So the only other, so nothing changes for CARES. The
I've
only,
got the other.
okay,
Good.
so you have this right here. Go to 12, please. This is the same thing that I showed you guys. None of that has changed. Go to 13, please. What's different is the color. This one says is yellow, the other one is blue. 77% of our budget. The only slide that you are changed, the last one that needs to be changed is that it says the allocation was not, instead of it, well, it says were or were not.
I
The
don't have that
answer is
slide.
we're not. And Katrina has that slide. I'm happy to put it all together. I promise. I'm not going to do a bait and switch.
Can I change this one here?
Yep.
I don't know what this is.
Okay, so in the priority, if you go back to the first slide with that says your priorities, because we can just cut and paste. You can put on that one that we are going to you know what, I really don't know if that would even count as a priority. I don't even know if we need to do that slide. What that money is doing, it is allowing us to buy materials because we don't have money for basic things like paper and stuff like that. So
Right.
I think that it's fine to just leave that in there, and you can put on there for strategies, you can just put instructional materials. We're very lean. Like I said, we have different issues than some of the other schools. They're trying to figure out what to do with large pots of money, and we're just trying to stretch ours to cover all of our needs. So it's just a big difference.
Hey, Sharon, which one was that again that you sent? What time was that email? Is that I can't seem to find it.
Today,
Yeah.
I don't know what time I sent it. It was, I don't know, maybe like noonish, 1 o'clock.
Okay, Paul, I'll look for that one and send you that.
Yeah, I'm happy to merge them.
It
Yeah.
was at 2:50.
250. Okay, so let me look for that. Sorry. I did some stuff with my filters and I think I was trying to be a little too clever. So a lot has gone directly to trash. So, okay,
this
I'll get it
slide is
for you.
good. The leveling reserve slide is good, just like that.
Oh, Stephanie needs to go ahead and present because she needs to get off.
Okay, so then to wrap this up, let me go ahead and send this to you. Thanks, Paul.
Should I
Okay,
stop sharing?
there you go. Yeah. So then to go ahead and wrap this up, we'll make the changes that we've discussed. And then this will be what we're voting on, along with this and the budget that Principal Briscoe presented tonight and various other stages of the budget conversation. So let's go ahead and have a motion to approve the budget and this deck as we will amend as discussed.
Motion to approve. Hey, Ashley.
Okay, is there a second?
Second, Monica.
Okay, Monica Wallman. Okay. All those in favor, can you say aye?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed? Okay, great.
Was
This-
that Ashley Henshaw that made the motion?
Yes.
Okay,
And the second, I think, was Dr. Waldman.
got it.
Great. So the budget has been passed, plus this budget slide deck. And well done. End of 3 meetings. Congratulations. Okay, great. We're moving on then. Silent claps. Yay. We'll move on over. Thank you so much for hanging around with us. I appreciate it. I have given you permission to share, so you should be able to do that now.
Great. Hi, everybody. I am going to just pull up a really quick presentation for us. So as you guys know, those of you who don't know me, my name is Stephanie Schumacher. Hold on one second. Sorry. I am the STEAM program coordinator this year at Mary Lynn, which is our new signature program. And part of becoming sorry, I'm trying to make this so we can do the full thing. Part of becoming a STEAM certified school is getting certified through the Department of Education. And for those of you who are not familiar, the way that works is there are 15 standards that we get graded on. And when it's time for our visit, the DOE comes in and they grade you on these standards. I'm going to kind of show you an example. So as you can see at the top, there's a criteria. And what they want to see, they grade where you are on the continuum, and you don't have to necessarily be full for all 15 of those standards. But if there are some that you are not full, they just want to see like what your plans are, like how are you moving towards that. So one of the big things is they want to see your growth in the program. So typically this process takes about 3 to 5 years from like pre-implementation to full implementation. So it will be a little while until we apply. So one of those criteria, the first one actually is called the STEAM vision and culture. And it's about what we're doing at a school to like build a STEAM community, how we are like engaging our community, how we're engaging our students. So you can see if we are fully there on the number 4 on the continuum, the vision for STEAM is clearly defined and an arts and design focused culture has been established within the school. Students articulate and live this vision and culture through their actions, passions, and perceptions. And we want to know, they want to know that fine arts are included in the vision for this program. They want evidence that a STEAM culture has been established, is provided. Schools decide how to showcase this culture. And there's interdisciplinary instruction. So one of the big parts of that is actually creating a STEAM mission and vision so that we kind of know like where we are going and what we want for the future. And so at the school, we have a STEAM team that's composed of teachers. So there's a teacher from every grade level, and some grade levels we have more than one. We also have specials teachers, our media specialist is on it, our coaches come, and we meet monthly to kind of do different things within the school. But one of the things we've been working on is creating a mission and vision for Mary Lynn, a STEAM. We already have one that's on the website, but like an additional one that's focused on STEAM. What we did in this process is we pulled lots of missions and visions from like all over the country, from like some APS schools like Spark, Drew Charter, but also like STEAM schools in California that have been doing this for a long time. And we looked at their vision and missions, and we thought about what words we thought were important, what like the message we wanted, and then we crafted one for us. And so what I want to do tonight is show it to you, and then hopefully if you guys approve it, then that we can add it up onto our website as something that we are like going towards moving forward. So let me go to the next slide. And I'm happy like at another time to go over all these criteria, and it's also on the DOE website if it's something that you're interested in. So the vision that we came up with as a team was, our vision is to foster students who are lifelong proactive learners. Our students will be clear communicators who use innovative problem solving to address the complex issues facing our community and world. The mission of Mary Lynn Elementary is to educate our students through meaningful interdisciplinary experiences. Partnerships among students, teachers, and the community will prepare our students to be caring and creative risk takers ready for the world. And then the last part, not all schools have this, but we really liked the motto, we will be known by the problems that we solve. And it might be, I wonder if it would be easy if you guys want me to drop this. I wonder if I can do that so you guys
So
can
Stephanie, there's
see.
just, I
Yeah,
just
go
want to
ahead,
just
Sharon.
make a clarification. This is not this Mary Lynn mission and vision. This is our STEM
Yeah.
mission and vision, and which is different. And then just also really quick, there's just a couple of typos. If you go to, let me see, partnerships.
Hopefully, I thought I used our updated one, but maybe I did not.
Oh, ready for the world. It's going to need a comma. Who
Where
are
in the
ready for the
mission or the
world?
vision?
the vision,
Like
I
we
mean, the
talked about this. Let
mission,
me see.
who are ready for the world or comma, ready for the world? It's
Who are
gonna
supposed to
need
be caring
something.
and creative risk takers? Who are, yeah.
Yeah. And then the next one, go to the next one for the, we will be known by the problems. And it could be we solve, or it could say that we solve. I think either is fine.
Could you also?
And we have an amazing problem to solve right now. I'm so excited about it. And I
Do.
just want to shout out Stephanie for really just taking ownership and leadership of our STEM and STEAM mission, and just going through, getting this stuff done and just getting our whole staff on board and energized about STEAM.
Sorry,
period.
made a mistake.
There's so many good things happening. We're presenting to the foundation tomorrow about our first project-based learning unit that's going to be happening next year, and a lot of it we're presenting at the foundation because we need money for it. And I just want to just make sure that I publicly just praise her work. She has single-handedly re-energized our school. I mean, our kids love the STEAM lab. And it's amazing. I tell her that probably once a day.
Yeah, so I
think
don't
these
know
look-
if, oh, sorry, go ahead, Elizabeth.
I was just saying, I think these look great, and I feel like they kind of one thing that strikes me is that they really get to the root of why we're doing it, but do we need to reference the how in any way, or does that matter? So like, there's actually no reference to STEAM. I think it's implied, right? But I wonder if it needs to be more explicit in any way.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say. If you guys have, I can send these slides out. I don't know if you have an email distribution list. And so what we did as a team is like, we looked at them and then we wrote notes on them, and then we came back as a team to decide. So that's definitely something, if like there are things you think we should add or take out, that's something like we can look at, and I can send like an updated version.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel strongly about it. I just wondered if you had made the decision not to reference STEAM explicitly, or if it's just kind of how this is how it worked
It was
out.
kind of like, just when we looked at the other ones, we followed sort of like the outlines of those.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of the schools too that we looked at, their titles are like the whatever STEAM school. So for a lot of the places that we looked at for guidance, that's like their whole programs are like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think the only change I might suggest is just along the lines of what Ms. Briscoe said, which was that it's not the mission of Mary Lynn Elementary, but it's the mission of the Mary Lynn STEAM program.
Yeah, and so I don't know,
and eventually we might mesh those two, because one of the things that you have to have for STEAM certification is a mission and a vision for your school. It's not something that we would be voting on today. We want to make sure that we have a guideline to go on for our STEAM journey. But I think that eventually the purpose is for those things to kind of mesh together, because we are becoming a STEAM certified school. So we're at the very beginning of it, but we're moving quickly because we have Stephanie at the helm. And the team. Lynn-Ann is an integral part with several teachers on staff that really work hard. The whole STEAM team is pretty
there's
awesome.
so many people who are pumped up, so it's great. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. And like I said, I can send those slides to who sends out emails for you guys?
Katrina.
Okay, so I'll send those to you, Katrina, and then you can send them out. And if, I don't know if you guys have to make a vote or how that works, but I just wanted you guys to know kind of where we're headed.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
And I agree. I think some of those we can definitely, well, not us, but next year's team can use that to start molding the vision and mission to help you out with a STEAM mention.
And just so everybody knows, I know one of the reasons why Stephanie has to go besides her 3 kids is because she and Peter are actually hosting the Mary Lynn Foundation donor party tomorrow night at their house. And so far there are 94 positive. responses who have RSVP'd. So she's gonna be.
I raked
And
about
it's
10
also the
bags of leaves
night of
today.
March
We're ready.
Madness. Yeah, and it's also the first night of March Madness, and I know that Peter's friends have probably told him that he better have him a TV posted. You got, how many TVs you got posted upstairs, Stephanie?
I think there's three in the basement speakeasy.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, I'll send that over to you, Katrina, and I will talk to you guys later.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye.
Thank you. Okay, and I am going to save this chat too, so we can make sure we have all of her information.
I've got those mottos and stuff in the.
Oh, great.
minutes.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Paul.
Oh, great, Paul, that was quick.
All right. Okay, moving right along. So now's the chance when we modified the agenda for a quick MCAT Midtown CAT update. Is Allison still on?
She is.
Okay,
I'm
great.
here. I'm gonna try to move away from the noise. So obviously, Sharon, you can, chime in. As an overview, I think, the meeting really focused on two main issues. So the first part of the meeting, excuse me, Travis brought in subject matter specialists on various topics related to the curriculum changes that are happening at the middle school level. And to be honest, I'm not entirely clear about whether these are things that are like a foregone conclusion or whether they were proposals or in consideration. But in essence, what was presented was a change to accelerated academic programs at the middle school level. I recall that it was going to be science, math, and maybe social studies. So they're making changes where they're bringing a couple of high school level classes down, and some contingent of students will be eligible to take them in 8th grade. The biggest change, which I would be a little bit shocked if a lot of you hadn't heard about, was that they are taking away accelerated math. And they're changing the track, I guess, for how students who would otherwise go into accelerated math will ultimately sort of cover the math curriculum in middle school and leading into high school. And I think that the first class that is going to affect are this year's current 4th graders. And I think there's a lot of questions sort of lingering out there, but in essence, that's sort of what the whole first half of the meeting was about. And I guess another point about that is that these new offerings it was presented as intended to sort of broaden access to some of the more challenging academic curricula, to get more kids into these classes, I think is at least the idea and the motivation. And it is up to each individual school to decide which ones they're going to offer. That part was very confusing to me because I actually posed the question in the chat, like there's a track. So if you end up, taking an advanced, I can't call it accelerated anymore, class in 6th grade, I gather it's not actually required that the 7th grade, 8th grade versions are even offered because it's up to the school. So again, it struck me as something that there's probably a lot to talk about. But again, I think it's the current 4th graders will be the first class who will not have accelerated math in middle school.
Yeah. So just to piggyback on that, Allison, elementary schools were doing accelerated math or advanced math, and we have stopped doing that as of, I think not this year, but the year before that. And I want to just point out to everybody, there was a lot of detailed information, what Allison's talking about. There was a lot of, nuanced information. And what I asked for was for the district to provide that in writing so that we would be able to share that with our parents moving forward. Because these are things that, although we were both sitting at that meeting, we're not able to answer any questions about the reasons for these changes, about the particulars of these changes. These are things that are very unique to the schools that they affect. So the bottom line is, for us, based on the CAT meeting, nothing has changed at the elementary school level. All of these changes are for middle and high school. And I'm just waiting for the district to present a packaged information that we can just share and present to our parents.
Is
Would you
that
say that's
something that,
accurate, Allison?
Yes.
Mhm.
I mean, again, I would encourage everyone to go and listen, frankly, to the recording of the Midtown CAT. And then also it was discussed in the North Atlanta CAT meeting. So I listened to that North Atlanta meeting before the Midtown CAT. And I'm still very confused. So
Yeah, that's why we really need it in writing,
so is that something maybe we should push for as well, asking for more information on reasoning behind this?
No, I think that they have that all together. They were presenting it. They just need to make sure that they follow up with the actual written documentation. It's Travis Norvell's group that's doing it. I have confidence that they're going to share that information. I think that I'm not sure if any of this stuff has to be board voted on, but they I don't think it's like, anybody's trying to hide any information. We just don't have it in a succinct way to be presented at this just yet. So we're just waiting for that, and we will be sure to present it as soon as we get it.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, the other thing is, as of the Midtown CAT meeting, I don't think that the deadline for each individual school to submit which courses they were thinking they were going to offer had passed. So, and I feel like it might have been right after, or maybe it was the day of the meeting, which was on March 2nd. In any event, the point being, I don't even think at that point, and I'm not sure now, there's information publicly available as to sort of at a course specific level, how that would impact this cluster, meaning, which classes are going to be offered, which ones aren't. I don't know that that's even out there yet.
Yeah, parents are really concerned about it because, Mary Lynn, there's such a high level of distinguished learners in math. I think to do all this work in the beginning, and then as some parents are seeing it, I don't know enough about the topic, but some people see it as losing ground after all doing all this work in elementary school, losing speed. So
as a parent of Mary Lynn twins at Midtown, my kids have been in accelerated math all along. When they get to Midtown, they get a choice. My kids are doing double math right now, and Dr. Bachman will explain this to you. I don't think there's going to be much change to that. The kids can go as far as they want. They can even take courses at Georgia Tech in 10th and 11th grade if math is the accelerated path they want to take. I don't feel, as a mom of twins who have been in accelerated math, that my kids are losing because I'm pushing them to do double math right now.
Yeah, and I was going to say, our school, the trajectory that our kids are on, they are literally, people are clamoring to get into both David T. Howard and Midtown, where they're state ranked. I'm not worried about the rigor. They pushing forward.
And as Dr. Bachman will explain, you can push your kids, and your kids can go as far in math as they want. I mean, there's not even like a limit. So, I mean, I'm just speaking out of my own experience.
No, it's true. I just think right now we have, after going through the zoning and all this discussion about, the cluster, I think people have a low level of trust right now. And the more information they see on paper, like what's been asked for, it'll give people a little higher level of confidence that their kids will not miss out.
Which leads into the second half of the Midtown CAT meeting, which is talking about the what are now two current proposals for addressing the capacity issues in the Midtown and Jackson clusters at really the high school level. And, there was some preliminary explanation about how, schools that are in the red, so to speak, there's an annual review process to determine, what can be done, what should be done. And both of these clusters have schools that, were, I guess, put into that process. There was a pretty high level presentation of, I'm sorry, I'm shivering because it's freezing out here, of the two options on the table currently, what they're seeking community input on for presentation to the board are option one, which is essentially, in cluster things that can be done to address overcrowding, in particular at Midtown High. So things like residency checks, reallocation of use of space within the high school, those kinds of things. And option two would take Centennial, move it to Washington. And I think that is a reduction of a little bit north of 200 students, which I think sort of put Midtown, if I'm recalling correctly, sort of at 95% capacity instead of over 100. But at 95% capacity, Midtown would still be considered in the red and would more than likely go into the same review process next year.
And can I just also share that since we had that CAT meeting, which was like the initial discussion about this, there have been a couple of other neighborhood and community meetings that discuss this further in detail. There was one last Thursday. I know because some people were going to the Candler Park pub crawl and they were worried about the conflict. And then there was also one during the daytime. And all of that information is published, what you're talking about, the options in writing, and they're just really doing a presentation and asking for even more feedback from the communities. So if you're interested in looking at that, what those proposals are for the possible redistricting to, make the school size better, you can find all of that. It's on the APS website.
Yeah, and I will also, I'll encourage everyone again to watch the Midtown CAT meeting because Dr. Bachman, and I believe it was Tamara Jones who attended the meeting.
Yes,
I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Tamara Jones
they both commented on option one and some of the discussion around instructional classes versus non-instructional classes. They had thoughts that they shared. Dr. Bachman in particular noted that, she doesn't think the fact that Midtown High School, I guess, is the way that they're counting classes makes it look like in the numbers, I guess they have fewer classes towards, I feel like I keep calling them instructional and they're called something else, but in essence,
it's core classes.
Core classes. But she feels like the way that the space is being used, basically they're all maxed out. So there's that, and then there were quite a number of voices from some of the other schools talking about option one, and frankly, I think, raising some valid concerns that the mechanism that the district may be proposing to use to address overcrowding internally haven't been identified or articulated in any meaningful way, such that public comment can really be had well.
Overcome that challenge.
So I don't know if and when the district is going to ultimately do anything about that, but there was a lot of discussion about that.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I just know that the discussion is not over. And again, if you are interested in following that, there's a lot of stuff that's already published about it. And they had their first round of meetings, and they did it with all of the clusters that have possible zoning changes. And you can voice your concern. Let's Talk is probably the best avenue to do that, because it'll go directly to Travis Norvell.
Yeah. And if anyone is interested or knows folks who are, there's also nothing precluding anybody, you know, from the Mary Lynn district or Midtown in general from attending, you know, for example, if there's a meeting related to Jackson or whatnot, I mean, they're all public. And so, you know, we can all sort of attend all the meetings and find out what everyone everywhere has to say.
But the bottom line for how it affects Mary Lynn currently for our school, there's not any consideration or threat of rezoning. But the conversation did have a lot to do with Midtown and what that will look like. So I encourage everybody to take a look at that.
Yeah. And I will
For
say
now.
any immediate
Yeah, for
threat.
now. That's right. For now.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you for the update. Okay, so do you guys have anything else for that one? Nope. Okay. So let's go back to sharing. Here we go. Okay, and if you can see, if the link right here, the helpful information, that actually there's the link to that takes you to all the different scenarios if anyone wants to review that, and that's on our
Great.
page.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. So moving right along. Any future agenda items? We'll throw that back on there for the last meeting of the year. Anyone else? Do we want to throw on pre-K?
Pre-K is definitely not happening for this coming school year.
Do we want to
I
throw it
saw-
on for, I guess, if next year you guys are going to start looking at it, or any summer movement?
Yesterday at Expanded Cabinet, I saw the head of the early learning department, and she shared that she knows how much Mary Lynn wants to have a pre-K, and that we're already in the works for the application for the following school year. And is pretty confident that that will happen. But for 23-24, I think it's not going to happen.
Okay, so I'll leave that one off, and that can be added for next year, the team to discuss
I
that.
know, Paul. It's a thumbs down. It hurts.
You guys tried really hard, though.
Well,
really
listen, I
appreciate
want to
that.
see that Lenora Robertson every day in school, because she's one of the cutest things going.
She'll be there soon enough.
I know. But I mean, I get to see her all the time, but I would love to see her at school.
All right.
So
Any
Katrina, were
other-
you saying that you wanted to add a future agenda item being about the pre-K for 24-25 or no?
Well, if there's no updates for next, what you guys are planning to do in the summer, if there's no movement, then we can just leave that off, and then you guys can address it next year. But I definitely will add that Midtown CAT discussion. And then
Okay.
next time, I think we'll have maybe Deanne, the PTA president, hopefully come on and present the plan forward for them. So that's it. If anyone else has any ideas or anything you want to discuss, please just send them over. And then we'll move on to announcements. Don't have any announcements other than the budget training. I don't know if everyone's completed that or not. It's 5 or 6 minutes. If you could do that, that'd be great. So we're in compliance. The entire team's in compliance. And then public comment. No members of the public. So then is there a motion to adjourn?
So this is the last Go Team meeting for the year.
We have one more next month, and then that
So-
will be it.
Should we announce the next Go Team meeting?
Yes, it's on the website. Let me see. It is next one will be the 17th. No, excuse me, the 19th.
April 19th.
We have two more. I wonder if we have more than was needed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We might have more meetings than are needed. So I'll check into that and be ready to tell you guys on the 19th. I mean, if that's the case, then maybe we don't have to do the May, because I know how crazy May is at the school for you guys. So
I think 6 are required, if I'm
6?
not mistaken. I'm almost positive, but not 100%.
okay. In which case we are good. All right, let's look into that and maybe just send a few emails. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing then. Okay. Dr. Waldman made the motion. Is there a second for adjournment?
Second, Molly Campbell.
Thank you, Molly. All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Great. We're adjourned at 8:24. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye-bye.